World News. Egypt. Today, after a 5-year search, British archaeologist Howard Carter uncovered a tomb sealed for over 3,000 years.
The times of the late 1800s was a time of great exploration and discovery in Egypt. It was still an early time for archaeology, even though it was done since Napoleon's era. There wasn't many established rules for this practice. It was a competition between looters and archaeologists. It was common knowledge that there wasn't anything to find in the Valley of the Kings. But a young British artist named Howard Carter thought differently. With the financial support of Lord Carnarvon, he made one of the biggest discoveries in Egyptian history. He didn't start out as an archaeologist. In 1874, Howard Carter was born in Brompton, United Kingdom, as the youngest of 11, with an interest in art at an early age. His father, Samuel John Carter, was an animal artist, so naturally the interest was in the family. At age 17, Howard traveled to Egypt for the first time as a junior art assistant for Percy Newberry, with the task of drawing tombs. That same year, he went and worked for William Flinders Petrie. Petrie was considered one of the best of his time. While under him, they worked in El Amarna, remains of a city built by King Akhenaten. Petrie started to train Howard in the techniques of excavation. There, Howard discovered a limestone torso of Queen Nefertiti. He also drew a picture of a fragment of a relief depicting the queen, and it was featured by the Daily Graphic. In 1893, Carter was appointed as the principal artist of Egyptian Exploration Fund excavations at Deir el-Bahri, place of Hatshepsut's funerary temple. He was still improving his techniques of excavation and restoration. From there, he worked as a draftsman for Edouard Naville. Edouard was a well-known Swiss excavator and studied early philosophy. He is best known for his work with the Book of the Dead. Like Carter, he worked for the Egyptian Exploration Fund. At age 25, he was appointed by Gaston Maspero. Howard was the inspector of general monuments of Upper Egypt. Some of his projects were looking into cemeteries of West Thebes in the Theban necropolis. It was not all smooth sailing for him after an incident involving violent French tourists and refusing to apologize for the actions of his security. He stepped down from his position and moved to the Nile Delta in Tanta and was laying low for a while. In 1908, things were looking quite bleak for Howard until his former employer Gaston came to him after a man named Lord Carnarvon approached him about looking for someone to supervise and help him with digs. Lord Carnarvon was a wealthy man from Britain who had an interest in Egyptology. He had to leave for health reasons 5 years before, but returned. Soon, the two were introduced. It started out on excavations in Thebes, where they found many artifacts like jewelry and statues. From here, this led them to the Valley of Kings. The Valley of Kings was a burial place for pharaohs and nobles for around 500 years. It was common fact in the day that all tombs were discovered. But Howard thought differently. He was optimistic. While searching, he started finding many items with the name Tutankhamun on them. Other people assumed that Tutankhamun's tomb was already discovered due to the amount of items with the name. With this suspicion and support of Lord Carnarvon, he set off to search for the tomb. For many seasons, his results turned up few and too far in between, and it wasn't looking too good for Lord Carnarvon. He was growing impatient and getting tired of spending money for these expeditions when nothing turned up. But Howard wouldn't give up. He even offered to pay for the next season out of pocket and let the Lord keep all the riches. In 1922, Lord Carnarvon gave in and let him do one more season. The season began November 1st, 1922. Him and his team started. They found workmen huts used by laborers in the time of Ramsay. We had planned and noted them. They were removed, and we were ready to clear away the 3 feet of soil that laid beneath them, noted in his book, Tomb of Tutankhamun. On November 4th, they discovered that there was a cut in the rock under one of the tombs. The next day, they finished clearing rock and found the beginning of a stairway. The stairway was excavated to find a sealed doorway. Howard discovered a room by making a small hole in the doorway, but then he had to reseal it out of respect. He wanted to wait until Lord Carnarvon arrived. Before making the small hole, he noticed evidence of resealing, but he was hopeful. Shortly after, Lord Carnarvon and his daughter arrived. They carefully removed the seal and entered. There were vases, pottery, and smaller artifacts, but there was a second sealed doorway. He, Lord Carnarvon, and his daughter peered through the door to find gold everywhere. At first, I could see nothing, the hot air escaping from the chamber causing the candle flame to flicker. But presently, as my eyes grew accustomed to the light, details of the room within emerged slowly from the mist. Strange animals, statues, and gold everywhere. There were vases, designs, shrines, caskets, portraits, and gold chariots. The room was filled to the top with precious artifacts. Many of them had inscriptions with the name Tutankhamun. After entering, they discovered 3 sarcophagi, the last one being made of solid gold containing the body of Tutankhamun.
With intense excitement, I went forward and unbolted the inner door. They slowly swung open, and there, filling the entire area within, stood an immense yellow quartzite sarcophagus. It effectually barred any further progress until we could raise the lid. Then, a decisive moment.
King Tutankhamun was the king of Egypt from 1332 to 1323 BCE. Started as a ruler at age 10 until the young age of 19 when he died. Experts believe he was tall but weak and had bone disease in his left foot. After his remains were reviewed, it was determined that he was assassinated because there was a hole in the back of his head, but later, a scan revealed it was from mummification. After clearing everything from the room, Howard started to record the items. It took 10 years to complete this task, but it didn't take long for the world to know about his discovery that made worldwide headlines. Many people said with disturbing a burial place, there was a curse that comes with it. While there were no hieroglyphics in Egypt confirming this, the death of Lord Carnarvon 6 months later has perpetuated this myth. Howard Carter's discovery of King Tutankhamun has intrigued the world for nearly a century. Tens of millions of people around the world have attended these exhibits. At one point, 1.35 million people attended one exhibit. Due to Howard Carter's exploration, people have encountered the Egyptian aristocracies. The exchange of information of his discovery has inspired and ignited the field of archaeology in popular culture and academia, and his contributions to Egypt and the world will be remembered forever.